All right, welcome back. So this is part 3. This is where I'm actually going to use the unit. I am going to go over a few things I did learn. I did get in contact with their support. They sent me a user manual, gave me some tips. So I'm just going to show you the few things I set up and like I said, some stuff I learned. So let's go from there, and then I'll do the first test shoot on a piece of really rusted steel. So one of the first things I figured out was what this was for. This is for the air connection. And what you're doing basically is you want to blow the smoke away from the lens so that no smoke ends up in the lens. So that's really what this device is. They actually show in one of the image examples that it's kind of blowing down. I don't see how that's possible with how this is kind of configured. So I'm going to try it like this or try it blowing on the side. But basically the idea is you would just want to have it so it's blowing the smoke away from the lens, not getting in the lens. The other thing was this. So this is the air line that comes out of it. This is a 6mm outside diameter line. I did actually happen to have in my toolbox some of these Bowden connectors for that. And I went to an NPT so I could just do my standard airline connector. The maximum pressure that they say is 8 bar, which is about 100 PSI is what you're sort of going for as a maximum. So that's set up and ready to go. I did install the kind of holder that's for the gun holder. So they don't have any washers that were in there. So I did add some washers because it's quite some large slots. These are my glasses. They're not the ones that it actually comes with, just my preference. And the very final thing was filling the water. So this takes 16 liters of purified water. I use distilled water. You can debate in the comments of distilled versus purified, but that's what I use. But anyways, it's 16 liters, it's full, it's ready to go. So I'm ready to turn this thing on and get into some steel. And the very last thing is, this is the piece of steel that I'm going to be using. This has been sitting outside for 2 years. It's a piece of cast iron that was used for a barbecue grill, basically. That's what I'm going to test it on. Not going to be something that's like flash rusted. That's been seriously rusted for like 2 years outside. So let's get it fired on and go from there. Okay, so one quick thing to note, he told me that the admin password was 6, and for me it was 1, the number 1 and the number 6. So that was one thing I had to get going. So got the water cooler going, no alarms this time. If you saw the first video, there was no water, so there's tons of alarms, so no alarms. Got my gun set up, I'm gonna hook up my air. Just for the video and some sound, I don't have my air compressor switched on, but I got both of my tanks full, so we should be good for this anyway. But if I do have to turn my compressor on, then I'll just put some music over because otherwise you're going to hear this. Bah. So yeah, anyways, let's fire it up and see what it does. So for my first test, I'm going to be doing 1,000 watts. This is currently at 68 Fahrenheit. So as I blast it, or after I kind of get it cleaned up, I'm going to take another temperature check. Again, this is pretty thick cast steel, so I'm not expecting too much of a temperature change, but let's see. So you can see how fast that went. You can see that the temperature actually got up to about 170. It's cooling down pretty quick, but 165 still, so it gets quite warm. One note, I did actually run this at 100%, so that was at 1,500 watts. But you saw how fast, it's cleaned that thing right off to bare steel. I mean, look how much rust was there before compared to how much the difference is now. So that's pretty fascinating. I mean, you gotta be, I mean, that's pretty, the width is pretty good too. I mean, I did 2 passes to get the full width of both sides. That's pretty impressive. It made a bit of a clean spot on my concrete. But yeah, it made quick work of that. But given the fact that, let's see where we're at now, so temperature, yeah, 152. So I mean, what we were at 70 before, so definitely doubled the temperature. You'd want to be careful with 100% on getting into some sheet metal stuff. So I'm gonna have to do some more experiments. Yeah, anyway, that's the first run with the machine. The initial setup, some of the stuff that I had to go over from the last video. Pretty simple to get going. I mean, once you kind of like fire it up. But one thing I did notice is, for some reason, you had to hit sway and then laser. And then on the gun, you have to push the trigger twice for it to actually start. So anyways, I'm really impressed by that. I mean, that cleaned off so super quick. Time to do some more testing. It is a bit smoky in here. I'm gonna open some garage doors and get that out of here. But yeah, anyways, part 4, I'm gonna get into some more testing of sheet metal and temperatures, figure out what it takes to actually warp something so I know kind of where the limits are and where I have to get to. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it.